Hello YouTube, welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm gonna be explaining the Goredrinker Graves and basically showcasing that I have a 100% win rate with it. And I actually went from Masters 1 LP to Grandmaster 208 LP without losing a single game on Graves. And I actually only lost one game from Master to Grandmaster, and I won like 11 or 12 of them. But first, let's log into the account that we got Grandmaster on and see the promotion, just for the satisfaction. Go, loading up. And then it should pop up in a sec. There it is. Boom. Promoted to Grandmaster. So, let me just disable music again. So, I basically promoted to Masters of this game right here. And then as you can see, since then, I have won every single game except this one arctis game. And now we are Grandmasters. But that's not what you clicked on this video for. You clicked on this video for Goredrinker Graves. So I found out about Goredrinker Graves from Sweden. He was the first guy that I saw who used this build. Sweden plays on NA and he's challenger like a 1000 LP. And I saw him utilizing this build and I just straight up copied it and tried it out on a test account in Diamond 2 on West. And I kind of liked it, and then I decided to go onto this account right here. And then I just started playing it in ranked, and yeah, I basically haven't lost a single game with it. So what is the build for Graves Jungle with Goredrinker? So the runes are Fleet Footwork, Triumph, Alacrity. You can go for Tenacity if you're playing against a lot of CC. And then you can go for Coup de Grace, Cut Down, and Last Stand. I don't typically recommend Cut Down because you are building a lot of HP yourself. Goredrinker, Black Cleaver. These two items gives you a bunch of HP, meaning that Cut Down is not the best. So I usually recommend either Coup de Grace or Last Stand. And then for runes, you go Boots and Cosmic Insight because you play with Goredrinker, which is an active item. You play with Hexdrinker, which is a shield. And then the basic runes are 1 attack speed, 1 AD, and 1 HP, pretty standard. And then skill order is also pretty normal. E into WQ for Folklore. And then level 4 you put W, and you max Q, then E, and then W. And then the build itself. So the build will always be Goredrinker first item. Then you go either play the Steel Caps or Mercs, depending on what you're playing against. And then if the enemy team does not have a lot of AP burst damage, you will go Black Cleaver. If they do have a lot of AP burst damage, so like AP jungle mid or like basically double AP soul laners, whatever. If they have a bunch of AP, then you'll go Malme Mortius second. So this will typically be your second item. But if they have a lot of AP, then you go for Maul second and for Black Cleaver third. And then Death Dance will be your fourth item. And those are basically your core items. And that's basically the build, more or less every single game. I then very recently, yesterday, saw Tarsant basically post a tweet saying Stridebreakers as Goredrinker Graves is the return of Season 6. And I then tried Stridebreaker on Graves. The build is exactly the same. It's just you swap out Goredrinker for Stridebreaker. And I can say that the attack speed that you get from Stridebreaker feels nice on Graves, but the active feels more or less useless on Graves. And the active from Goredrinker feels a lot nicer. So I personally recommend going for the Goredrinker instead of Stridebreaker. I haven't tried playing with Ghost and Graves. I have seen both Sheedan and Tarzan play with that, and I think it could work, but I think it's a playstyle choice. But I'm doing just fine just playing with Flash on Graves with this build, right? And then a bunch of people have been asking me, well, what are some really good, like, 6 items for this Graves setup? And I have personally tried Ravenous Hydra, because that's what I saw from Sheedan's build. I've then seen that you can go for a LDR, People have then been asking me about Phantom Dancer, and I haven't quite tested enough. I would basically, if you end up reaching 6 items on Graves, which is very uncommon for you to do, but if you end up doing, I'll just check Shiden's op.gg, I'll check Tarsan's op.gg, and I'll check my op.gg right here, and then just look at what common 6 items are. I've tried Ravenous Hydra, felt okay. I've tried Spirit Visits against full AP, also not too bad. And then I've seen LDR, which typically on Graves is also a pretty good item. So yeah, that's basically the build. So where does this build suddenly come from? So it comes from the fact that all the Bruiser items gives less HP and more AD now, meaning that you get more or less the same AD from this tankier Bruiser setup than you do from a traditional either lethality or a crit setup. Now this build is basically a replacement for the Shield Bow Graves build, because with the Shield Bow Graves build you would also be insanely tanky, but you would only be tanky because you have a lot of lifesteal, and as long as you can auto, you're basically full HP. With this setup you're just tanky overall, and you have healing from your Goredrinker, from your Fleet Footwork, and from Triumph, and you can shred tanks with your Black Cleaver. You can really get bursted by either AD or AP damage due to the fact that you have both armor and magic resist and death dance. So this build is pretty tanky, and it is basically a replacement for the Immortal Shield Bow build. So if you have tried out Graves with the Immortal Shield Bow build, I heavily recommend trying out this build. If you are a lethality Graves player, which I also tend to be with Ghostblade into Eclipse into Cyrildas, then this build is not really comparable because it's 2 different playstyles. One of them is like tank Graves and the other one is assassin Graves, but you can still try it out if you want to. And yeah, that's basically what a bunch of people have been running on Graves recently. So yeah. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. If you have any questions regarding this Goredrinker or Stridebreaker Graves build, then leave it in the comment section down below and I'll reach back to you. And then otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. It will help out my channel quite a bit. And I'm posting almost daily here on YouTube right now. And then otherwise, I hope to see you guys in my next YouTube video or on my next live stream on Twitch. And then I just want to say thank you for watching and have a nice day. See you guys.